Good morning, everybody. It is indeed morning, despite the leather jacket. Tell by the morning hair. Am I over my eating disorder? Am I fully recovered? Oh, I was bulimic for many, many years. And with bulimia, along with a few other types of disorders, it can be hard to catch because the person is typically of normal, maybe even a little above normal weight. People think that eating disorders are about the body and what you look like, and they don't think you're sick if they can't see it. It's just a symptom, like a sneeze for a cold or flu is a symptom of the virus. What's really damaged is your mind and your coping. The behaviors are just how you're maneuvering your life. It's not about a diet gone wild, just like any other addiction to drugs and alcohol. The addiction is just a symptom of what's going on in the person that led them down this road. And then it takes on a life of its own. I can tell you that over the years I did a little bit of everything. Over exercise and straight binging with no compensation whatsoever. Bulimia, typical bulimia, restriction. At one point I was underweight, but I was an underweight bulimic, never an anorexic. And I guess many times in there I would have been some form of adnos. I've been working diligently for the last couple years to make my eating disorder a thing of the past. And as the recovering addict can walk away from the drink or the drug and still be a dry drunk, still have all the problems and the stinking thinking. I refer to AA and NA slogans a lot just because they fit so well with eating disorder behavior. It really, really does. They overlap a lot. It's a whole other process then to address the thinking after the behaviors are addressed. And then another step to address the root causes that started the person to develop the distorted thinking patterns and approaches to life that led to the behaviors of the eating disorder. So it's like a three-step process. I can tell you that it's been so long since I binged and purged that I can't even remember when it was. Not any time in near history. So it's been a long time. I can't remember the last time that I straight binged. It's been a long time. And that's definitely a good thing for somebody who's bulimic, that they're not binging or purging anymore. I eat a sufficient amount of food for a human in a day. I have been physically ill for a year now, and so I physically cannot exercise. I tried, you saw the videos, I tried to pick it up for a little while on doctor's orders, not for eating disorder reasons, and it broke more muscle down than it gained. It broke more energy down than it gained. I am physically incapable of very much exercise. I'm in betwixt doing my morning yoga at the moment. And I needed to take a break, so I'm filming. Is my head really fixed? I still won't drink calories. No full fat milk. No regular sodas. No juice. Nothing. I won't drink any calories. Ever. I try to avoid real butter. I use that spray-on crap. I can't believe it's not butter. I can't believe it's edible. Probably terrible and unnutritious for my body. I have cut way back on the artificial sweetener besides my diet soda I'm using to compensate for the chronic fatigue syndrome. I'm on too much caffeine, but it's just taken the edge off. I don't know what else to do right now for that and hold down my job. But it's diet soda. It's got saccharin in it, but outside of the diet soda, I pretty much have cut artificial sweeteners out of my life. Which is a huge deal for me. If you have or have had an eating disorder, you may understand that. It may seem superficial or silly for other people, but I would go through 100 packets in a matter of days, like 3 days. 100 packets of Sweet and Low, or saccharin, or any kind of artificial sweetener. I had a taste for sugar, and I couldn't bring myself to eat sugar. I would use PB2 powdered peanut butter instead of peanut butter. I can now eat regular peanut butter. I do most weekends. It's one of my primary breakfasts at my boyfriend's house is peanut butter toast. So I can have peanut butter, which I never would have had before. My saccharin use has gone from ridiculous levels, like thousands of packets a week. That'll put holes in your brain, to pretty much nothing. I've had the same couple packets sitting in my cupboard for months upon months. I can eat things that are made with butter and whole milk and ingredients that otherwise I would avoid and only select the diet items or the low-calorie items. I was very aware. I couldn't erase it from my mind, the knowledge of the fat content or the calorie content in the food that I was going to eat. I am now much more open to eating quote-unquote real food, not just low-calorie foods. I still have sort of a preference toward healthy food, toward lower calorie food, toward sticking to the way that I eat, and not liking sudden changes, like when people at work want to share their food with me. I'm caught between wanting to appreciate the gesture and wanting to say no because of the types of food that they're offering me. Sometimes I can't bring myself to eat it. I just can't do it. There's still things I cannot do. And so, not compulsively exercising, I do feel guilt when I don't hit my 10,000 steps, which being ill has happened a lot, or that I'm not exercising, but being ill, I can't do anything about it. My behaviors and my habits surrounding food have greatly improved. And I don't binge and purge anymore. And I don't binge anymore. And I don't restrict anymore. My behaviors have improved. My mentality and coping skills around food is still a work in progress. Because no food should be off limits. There should be no rules. There should be no restraint about what I eat. And these things, they don't make sense. They never did. Sorry to inform anyone who has an eating disorder. Your rules make no sense. You think they do? They don't. They're all illogical. And the things that remain stuck to me, like not drinking my calories, and yet I can down a couple pieces of pizza. And not have a glass of juice or milk in my coffee. It's irrational. I can have nuts, nice quantities of nuts, which is really good for my bipolar and my mental health. And it's really high calorie, and I have that several times a day. It's actually become a big portion of my diet, is nuts. And I used to never be able to tolerate that because of how many calories were in it. But I'm thinking more about the nutrition of the food lately than what it is going to do to my body. I think about the nutrition and the good or bad it's going to have on my health and my general physical feelings than about what it's going to do as far as changing the aesthetic. Now, I had gone up as high as 125. Then I took medication that dropped my weight down. And that was not my intention. Beyond my control, a side effect of medication. My weight is within healthy range still. Worry not. And I intend to keep it that way. However, I have the old mentality of not wanting to allow it to get any higher. I was content. I made a video. I dressed up in a little slinky dress, and I made a video at 120, 125. And now I don't want to go back there. So I'm conscious about what I'm eating because I want to maintain myself where I'm at. That is a problem. That is stinking thinking. I'm supposed to be focusing on nutrition and letting the chips of my body fall where they may. And I still have my hang-ups. And I still have my resistance to change. So am I acting out the behaviors? By and large, no. And that's nothing to belittle. For someone who's had an eating disorder as long as I have, as many years as I have, since I was a kid, to recover from the behaviors, most of them, and my little eating rituals and things, most of them, is to be celebrated. But I wouldn't call myself solidly recovered. I still weigh myself rather frequently and don't want to put on weight. I still have, although I've overcome many of my eating hiccups, I still have things that I refuse to eat. I can't bring myself to do it yet. Hurdles I have not crossed. Rules that are just stuck to me like glue that I haven't crossed. I have a ways to go. But I'm so much farther along than I was when I started working on this. I'm not actively engaging in eating disorder. I may have some quirks about my eating that are a little abnormal. But what the hell is a normal diet anyway? A lot of people eat weird and they don't have an eating disorder, they just eat weird. It's the psychology behind what you're doing that is whether it's a disorder or not. And I know my psychology still needs work. So I think I'm at tier 2 at this point of trying to break down the house of mirrors, the distorted thinking, ditch the last of the rituals, and break down the stinking thinking, the dry drunk, the inactive eating disorder person who's not doing the behaviors but still thinks things wrong. That's where I'm at in my own recovery. Well behaved, made a lot of progress, but it's this that needs the work, and embracing and loving myself that needs the work, and body image acceptance that needs the work. And then when we get a handle on that, then we get to look forward to the real fun step, which is to dig down in there and start pulling up all the historical garbage that got me started on this to begin with, and naming the beast to kill it. And I just thought I would give you guys an update on my own recovery. I'm not dieting. I eat well enough calories in a day. Not doing anything to restrict myself, not binging, purging, over-exercising, any other eating disorder behaviors. But there are still some things that I cannot bring myself to eat or drink, even though I have made progress, a vast amount of progress. And after unintentional weight loss, I'm afraid to go back up at all, although I'm not doing anything to specifically make myself stay where I'm at. I'm secretly hoping that I don't get bigger, and I know that's wrong. So I'm acting healthfully to the best of my ability, but my thinking is still a little distorted, and that's the step that I'm at, step 2. And when I get done working on step 2, the stinking thinking, the dry drunk, the not acting out but still disordered thinking, then I'll move on to the final stage of complete recovery, which is unearthing, turning over the rocks and unearthing what started my track down this long, windy Alice in Wonderland road that we all take to Neverland. It's Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland. I'm mixing my fairy tales. It's okay, I'm not awake. And try to get down to the bottom of recovering from what started me down this track. Which is a trauma history that I don't really feel like sharing on blast on YouTube. Good morning. Goodbye. Anybody out there still hanging on with me for this section in particular? If you stopped recovering, no guilt, no shame. Pick back up and get back on the horse, start recovering again. If you're still recovering, gold star for you. I'm very proud of you. If you are all the way through and you have surpassed my recovery, I am not worthy. I am not worthy. Bravo. Good for you. Please, it's worth it. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Nothing in life that's worth it comes easy. But you got this. Good morning. Goodbye. I'm so lazy today. Love you guys. Bye, YouTube.